Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Mouz Sports and Team Empire. This is Game 2 of the Best of 3 series. Going on into it, Mouz Sports just kind of took it away with Game 1. They were able to control extremely well, had great lockdown, great hook shots, great Magnus ultimates, and from there really wasn't a response from Empire. They picked up a bunch of heroes that love to be mobile, that try to be not focused, and try to dish out their damage gradually over the fight, but Blink and Ball Lightning not going to cut it when they have such great disables such as Hex to keep them in place. So either way, the team fights didn't work out for them. They end up conceding, and now we move on into this second game here to see if they have something else to bring to the table. Twisted drafting up once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I am Blaze, and this is Vickermon casting up with me. How's it going, man?
It's going well, Blaze. I'm actually really glad I've been casting all day since the flash flood warning was just announced in my area, so safely ensconced up in the Dotaverse, I can avoid the waves outside. So, Empire, I think there's two problems. One was definitely their draft was just a little bit unfocused. When you want a hardcore roaming gank generating lineup, is Rubik Keeper of the Light really the support pair you want? I mean, something like a Shadow Demon Lino would have been so good to pair up with that Storm Spirit Queen of Pain selection. And they just lacked for disables. And then, of course, in terms of the execution, the solo lanes didn't go quite as well as they wanted. Scandal gave up First Blood, and the try versus try situation just sort of got worse and worse, especially as Fata rotated in. They do secure Magnus for themselves, so we won't see that Broken Hand Gaming shockwaves that we're hitting on point. But we do see Nature's Prophet up for Quakewo, which is his favorite hero, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see how this one goes. Yeah,
Prophet has a lot of versatility as far as what he can bring to it, whether they go for kind of 4 versus 3 early skirmishes, or just go for a build where they can split push throughout all different areas. I mean, we have seen different interesting things like a Nature's Prophet offlane and a core Lone Druid in some cases, but it's going to be more and more difficult given what they're up against. The Clockwork actually picked up very early on in the draft of Empire. This is something that we see from the Western European and North American teams more often, but Empire actually drafting it up here. I haven't really seen it, but I do know that they run it in a couple different ways. They can either run it in the offlane like we saw last game with Quakewo, or they actually will run occasionally a tri-lane supportive Clockwork, and when you're up against certain heroes, that specifically melee ones that can be pushed back by the cogs, it can actually be extremely effective at dividing up those skirmishes.
It's probably Scandal's hero, I would have to guess, for this Clockwork. And Empire, you're right, they don't run Clockwork that much, but let's keep in mind, Virtus Pro was one of the very first European teams to actually deploy that Clockwork. I think they might have actually been the first to really start running it frequently, so it is something that the Russian scene has seen. It's exactly the sort of hero Russian teams like, that can really get in there and start a huge brawl. And actually, Rock's Kiss play it quite a bit as well. They put Dread and/or Bread on the Clockwork quite often, and we'll see what Scandal has.
He's got it pretty solid there. I was saying that they don't really pick it up this early in the draft. I commonly see it as 4th and 5th rather than this 3rd pick coming out here.
I think this is both teams sort of taking some of the tools of the other team and using them against them, because we've had 4 hero swaps from team to team so far. Magnus and Clockwork up on Empire, whereas Rubik and Queen of Pain on Mouz Sports. But I don't think these are really denial pickups. Queen of Pain is maybe one of Fata's best heroes, one of the heroes that we've seen him perform the best on, and Magnus, obviously a hero that Vigas is pretty familiar with too, as is Scandal for that matter.
Fair enough, fair enough. We do see some interesting bans coming out. Right now, the Bane has been taken off the board, as well as the Lone Druid and Templar Assassin. Do you the Lifesteal has been taken out. Do you think there's another hero that they were a bit, that they want to make sure will be able to deal his damage? Some kind of melee carry?
Yeah, I actually think these bans from Empire were excellent. The fact that Mouz did pick up a support, Quakewo's hero, and Fata's hero, means that they have to find one for Black, and I think the 3 best candidates were all taken out. I hope they don't go with something like the Faceless Void, because that's actually one of Black's least successful heroes. He can find the farm, but they just don't find the kills there, and Empire actually picking up the Sand King, so that's a curveball. Definitely with this new drafting coming from Twista, they're trying some new things. Sand King, a hero that is not really used outside of Southeast Asia, and sometimes China.
Yeah, pretty much limited to those scenes, the Eastern scene in general, but specifically, like, Pinoy Dota has picked up the Sand King pretty frequently, but not so much as far as Team Empire. So yeah, Twista throwing a bit of a curveball here, and as you were saying, they kind of want to do something a little bit different. They've been trying to run the past matchup against Virtus Pro, and this first game here hasn't been working. But the Faceless Void does come out. I kind of saw that a little bit coming because they banned out the Bane, the TA, and the Lone Druid. The Bane and Lone Druid offering potential to disable him really, really hard to lock him down, and TA just offering that extra bit of burst. So I kind of saw it coming. They were going to go for a vulnerable melee carry that they wanted to be on the front lines but not locked down. But nevertheless, we'll have to see if he can actually make it work for him. If there are some really great chronos, if Fata interrupts an attempt to reverse polarity or an epicenter, holy crap, do they turn things around. But there's also the possibility. What's that?
You mean black?
I meant to say black. I don't know why I said Fata. But yeah, if they mess up a reverse polarity, if they mess up an epicenter, great potential. But if you're locked in place inside cogs, you're just going to spend the time walk, you're going to bounce off the cogs a couple times. It doesn't feel like it'd be great in that situation. So it comes down to Clockwork's usage compared to that of the Faceless Voids and how they kind of play out their hands out there.
Yeah, when I said I hope they don't go with Faceless Void, I mean, the reason I said that was because I thought that they might. It makes sense as a hero selection for just the abstract. For me, it's the least convincing of Black's carries that I've seen.
Okay.
Black, he's such an excellent carry player. He's first off, he is the best pure farmer in Europe, in my opinion. Maybe that's a semi-controversial name, but I think his farm is absolutely excellent. And Faceless Void is a hero that demands that you get farm. So in that respect, I think it's strong. But I think his ability to scrap and actually like fight is actually underrated. People don't really give Black the respect for being able to sort of jump in and deal a ton of damage. And that's really what makes his Lifestealer so great, is that he knows when to go in. And on Faceless Void, the answer for should I go in is almost always no until like 30 minutes in. And Empire are going to seek to just blow them out with some serious wombo combo, by the way. This Shadow Fiend edition makes for one hell of a lot of magic damage if they can all sync it up.
Yeah, this will be really, really interesting. They're kind of looking for that wombo combo style. I mean, Clockwork can start it off pretty well and try to go for a pick. It is going to be difficult to bring down Faceless Void before he gets his spells off, which of course is a key part of the fight, because they're not actually going to be running any Orchid heroes this time around. It's something that Empire loves to run, sometimes even dual Orchid lineups, but in this sense, they're actually not going to be able to get those silences off or anything along those lines. So they'll have their potential, but it's still, I mean, those are hard spells to get off, and I feel that Mouz might have the counter initiation they're looking for. Right now,
Sorry, go ahead.
Right now, just putting Alex on the Jakiro will be able to, I believe, give Faceless Void the breathing room he needs to at least pop a chrono, and it should be half decent considering the skill of the player.
I love the Alex Jakiro. The next best thing to having Jakiro Clockwork as a pair on your own team is to have Jakiro as a response to Clockwork, because once he cogs himself in, those are free Jakiro spells on him, basically. I do think, Blaze, that Black could be in trouble because if let's look at how fast Scandal gets Blink. I think that's going to be really important to this game. They're going to have Scandal in the middle, actually, which puts Vigos on the solo hard Clockwork, which is another lane to watch. But if Scandal gets a quick Blink, and he can generate the initiations on Black, I think that Empire could bring down Black fairly quickly in these fights, and then Mouz will just get peeled apart, basically.
Sure.
They also have the option of generating a kill by starting out with the hook shot from long distance that does pierce even BKB. So BKB is not the end-all be-all for Black's survival in this game. If he BKBs but then gets stunned by the hook shot, then the RP to follow, that's still a kill that Empire can earn.
Sure, but
so yeah,
the magic damage follow-up, I mean, they're relying so much on this Shadow Fiend, and until he gets big items, the Epicenter, I mean, all that's going to be nullified, so even if the disable isn't that big, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, Black is the player to watch. Either they, I mean, at a very, very basic binary level, either the Faceless Void will find a quick Battle Fury, and Black is a guy that loves to go Battle Fury on Faceless Void, and he gets a ton of farm and just takes over the game inch by inch, or he doesn't, and Mouz, they've got Nature's Prophet for some split push. Jakira's not a slouch at pushing either, but really their backup plan is no backup plan. They want Faceless Void to get his levels and get his farm.
Yeah. Interesting movement. I really like the Koikoi was trying to pull back the creep wave so that they didn't collect, and actually, yeah, some damage coming.
Good cogs.
But yeah, the cogs worked out pretty well. Anyways, the Koikoi was trying to pull the trends back to make sure that the creep waves converge, and he did accomplish that to some extent, but moving from Empire pulled it away from the tower, so at least it wasn't dealing the damage in that sense, which makes it possible. The problem is, there is going to be that Magic Bush ward, locking down a couple of neutral camps, and as such, it's going to be harder and harder for them to prevent Koikoi from inevitably getting some experience.
Right. One of the things about this Treant, do you think do you think Empire actually know that they've been warded here? Because if the Treants block it, you can sort of think, oh, it was blocked by Treants, and we can wait for 2 minutes before counter warding. It's an interesting little dynamic there.
If they happen to notice the central camp not spawning, they should realize that it is actually going to be double. They just pinged it out, actually. Twista realizes that you can't pull any further.
So yeah, that was the game there. Koikoi was trying to prevent them from figuring out that the ward was blocking those camps, but as soon as they see that this camp isn't spawning, they're like, oh, it must be a ward. So just an interesting, I mean, professionals play with so many, I mean, they sort of multitask and think about so many things at the same time that it's sometimes interesting to highlight some of those fringe sort of mind games being played by the solo laner.
Ooh,
actually, yeah, pick off onto...
Did not see that coming whatsoever. Jumping on in, you generally don't see a level 3 Queen of Pain netting a kill, but the Magnus overextended a little bit there, and actually Fata able to play extremely well. He actually is also going to blink out of the Shadow Demon started off with the Soul Catcher rather than the actual disruption. We do see up on top though, Rubik was able to get a kill on the Clockwork as well, so a lot of points of lockdown that shouldn't be happening right here. Sorry that we are a little bit behind as far as camera control, trying to make up for lost time talking about the previous one, but holy crap, Clockwork extending further than it needs to, dies almost solo to the Rubik. I'm sure they committed a little bit of extra damage there, but nevertheless, good movement from Paz, locking down Vigos, and now Scandal, of course, getting picked off by a level 3 Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, Fata getting that first blood. Scandal needs, like I said, a fast Blink Dagger is critical for them. Empire want to win, and they've made their entire lineup around winning before Black gets big. I mean, blow your brains, Shadow Fiend is a early to mid-game sort of dominance carry type hero. And if they're getting pick-offs and Scandal has slow development, actually, he might die again.
Wow, really? Wow, he does get the skew around to Queen of Pain, so it's going to force Fata back, and in this position, Scandal gets the Shockwave off. He might get a return kill. One right-click is all he needs. He closes it, and he does bring her down. So really, really good for him. Definitely needed that to kind of answer back for the first blood, but nevertheless, a little bit behind.
He's back on XP now, actually. That was a really, really, really important kill for them. So good job there. Good skewer the Quap into the tower. Koikoi in trouble bottom, I mean.
Yeah, they were already trying to flank the gank, but the Burst Strike shouldn't get in range. The raises making that a non-factor as he hits 3 of them in total. So blow your brain really on point there. Able to just do so much damage. Up on top, Vigos trying to contest a little bit of the pulling action, but it looks like no, he is actually able to make it not happen, but I think Pause might have been a little bit late either way, so one way or another, he's finding his creeps.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, all this, Empire need to win this early game, and they do have a superior early game composition. And going into the mid game, if Blow finds his farm and he could just deal enormous damage in all of these team fights, if they just have an underdeveloped Black standing after an engagement, then that's fine for Empire. But what they need to do is make sure that they get this early game dominance. And with Vigos, he's still level 2, and I think they might actually get a pick off with Alex rotating in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a level 2 Clockwork, as you mentioned, so with this creep wave about to hit the tower, they can go in deep. Going in, they slow him first, the cogs finally come out, but kind of fish in a barrel. Loses mana, though, 4 mana away from the Ice Path, and they're just going to put damage into the tower, not into Vigos himself.
But it's going to make sure that he doesn't find those levels, and Koikoi always has the option of going to jungle. Vigos does not.
Yeah. Very true, very true.
Oh man, just the level situation for Empire, this is not what they need at all, in my opinion. Having the Shadow Demon still at level 2, in addition to, actually Vigos, the lane moves far enough up because they were pushing with that he's actually going to find about half of his level 4. So that's actually really important.
Yeah, he rocket flared the entire wave, and they somehow just caught sight of him, realized that he was the one responsible, and seeked out their revenge, inevitably falling right underneath his feet, though, so he'll be able to bounce back a little bit as far as experience goes. On the bottom lane, Blow Your Brain was able to pick up that kill on Koikoi with some really, really skilled raises, but in this position, how do you feel about a tri-lane Shadow Fiend in his position moving on into the mid-game?
Fine. So the thing is, the flip side of Empire's supports being really low level is Blow is 6, and Black just hit 5. this Shadow Fiend is important to their plans. I think he's doing quite well. His last hitting isn't the greatest, but it's pretty much keeping parity with Black's. Black lost some last hits when they were pushing that tier 1 tower. So I don't know. I like the Shadow Fiend pick. I think it was basically all in, but I'm okay with Empire going all in. It favors their style a little more, and it increases the potential upside when you're sort of playing with stand-ins. It gives you less time to make mistakes. And it also constrains Mouz's options too. We have to survive through this early game phase.
Yeah, they're going to take a few hits from this tower here, but they really want to bring it down. They're actually making sure that the siege creep doesn't take any damage here. Very, very interesting move. It puts them in a vulnerable state, but they are very happy to let that siege creep wail away and take this tier 1 tower very early on.
That was really nice, actually. And we do see, by the way, I want to make a quick comment on the fact that Koikwa is playing very... Ooh, no, actually, I was about to say, thank goodness he's not going Midas, but he does get the Gloves of Haste. Maybe this is Power Treads, though. I really think Midas would be a mistake for Mouz. I feel like Koikwa is part of an important plan for them to survive the early game and give Black space, and Midas wouldn't necessarily help with that. It's a high confidence move, basically.
Now, okay, Scandal coming in. He has that reverse polarity 2 seconds from now, trying to go on in, but the skewer simultaneous with the telekinesis. Pause lifts him up, and he can't close the distance. Really, really bad for them. They'll get the barrel strike. They should be able to lock down one, trying to bait the rest into joining the fray. But Koikwa is actually still on half HP. Finally, the hammer drops, but Koikwa the only one to be struck, and from there, he is bopped in by the cogs. They're going to try to go for a bash proc. Needs the time lock, doesn't get it, and there's going to be a barrel strike south in light. In a very awkward position, but not one they'd expect, so the clarity should set him up for that TP scroll.
I don't know if Alex knows. It seemed like he knew, but he doesn't have any mana.
There we go. So he'll be able to TP
no mana
out.
to punish this. That's so funny. Jakira's the only guy who can actually hurt him effectively, unless Black like blinks in, but he's not going to. That's funny. So the Sand King makes it out. Actually, everybody makes it out.
Yeah, but the tier 1 tower will be forfeit. In exchange, though, looking at damage on the mid, and I kind of do the same thing, forcing out fortification already. Black's taking a few hits here, and Deny comes out. Scandal gets it. Really, really good movement. Mid lane, trying to do some damage to the fort. Oh, wow, yeah, this one dead Shadow Demon caught out 100%. Just even going to drop the Sprout on top of that disruption just to say, hey, there's a forest around you when you come back, and we're going to make sure that you do not escape.
Yeah. They actually, if Koikwa's TP, I mean, he TP'd as fast as he could, but if it had come out a little faster, they maybe could have picked up Blow Your Brain as well. And that's sort of the wages of having rank 3 Nature's Call on this Nature's Prophet. If he had a lower TP cooldown, sorry about that, I sneezed. If he had a lower TP cooldown, he could be able to get behind Blow Your Brain and sprout him, which would trap him in and potentially get the kill with Fata's damage. But because he has rank 3 Nature's Call and rank 1 Teleport, his Teleport is still on like 15 seconds cooldown.
Precisely. So we do see Haste Rune picked up on Magnus. 25 seconds from now, he'll have that RP. So I think this could actually be their moment to kind of bounce things back. Right now, they've been breaking even, which, as you mentioned, is not what they want to do. They want to be able to dominate while they still have an advantage. But Scandal giving them an opportunity to do so. The Haste Rune really, really could mean at least 1 kill advantage, if not an extra 2. So...
Huh. And Black actually taking the early Morbid Mask, so it looks like he's not going to go immediately into Battle Fury, or maybe not even into it at all, and just going to go that fast Mask of Madness. So Mouz starting to feel like they actually can contest the early to mid game.
Yeah.
Because that's what you see when they sort of go non-greedy. Ooh, Scandal.
Yeah,
God,
bad
these
spot.
telekineses.
Yeah, they're really, really good, but at least he didn't waste his skewer cooldown on it this time around. Either way, yeah, being put up in the air, not able to use the haste rune to close the distance as he intended.
I really like that telekinesis, actually, honestly. I think that's very good. Shadow Fiend, meanwhile, Blow Your Brain going straight for BKB, so he's not messing around with Rubik, Queen of Pain, Jakiro. He is, even before Tier 2 boots, he's making the full Black King bar.
Oh, Chrono actually popped off on top. Yeah, Vigas gonna have a really rough time here. Gets a lot of battery stall procs, interrupting a lot of TPs. Oh, Skewer! Oh my gosh, they get him! They turn it around 100%. Oh, that looks so bad for Vigas, but he skirts on out of there with 30 HP. Gets enough battery assault procs to mini stun the Void every time we tried to attack. That canceled 2 autos, and 1 bash proc would have also been enough to kill it. So,
that's
so many things.
Attack speed of Void before he gets attack speed items right there.
Yeah, that is just so many things painful about that, but in the end he wastes Chrono and he himself suicides with a big counter initiation from Blow and from Scandal as well.
No, I mean, that's a critical kill. Get that Black down. He's actually quite far from that Mask of Madness now. He still needs the entirety of the recipe for it. If he had Mask of Madness that fight, of course, it would have been absolutely no problem. He could keep Bash Clockwork down with no issue.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That's
take...
gotta be depressing as a Faceless Void. You've Chronosphered the guy, and, like, nothing happens.
Yeah, precisely. I'm gonna take, since there seems to be no action, take a moment to talk about the fact that there are 2 pickups that I generally wouldn't condone for a first core item. Mask of Madness is what seems to be coming in the works for Faceless Void, and that BKB Rush on Shadow Fiend. I think both those items have their limitations in the early game, because Mask of Madness... the more, yes, you will be able to dish out more damage, but you're also making yourself incredibly vulnerable. Only one point in Backtrack makes it so that he is effectively reducing his HP from 800 down closer to like 575 or something like that. So it's awkward math, but 30% increase in damage received is going to hurt him, possibly more than it hurts the enemy. It's a very double-edged sword. Along with that, BKB on the Shadow Fiend, yes, it will enable him to get better ultis off, but it does mean that every single time he uses the charge, it's going to reduce its cooldown duration every single time. So you start off with your most powerful BKB charge, 10 second, then 9, so on and so forth, and the earlier you get it, the faster you're going to expend those things. But the fact that they're both going it shows how intentional, as you mentioned, they are on really making this happen in the early game. They are turning what should be 20-minute teamfight items into 12-minute teamfight items, and they really want to actually come out on top in pretty much the first big 5v5.
Yeah, both teams are prepping for the fight, capital T, capital F. And all of their sort of coordination is in reference to the fight. Now, Empire, as soon as BKB comes up on Blow Your Brain, and as soon as Enlight actually hits level 6, which is going to be very soon because he's getting solo lane XP.
Oh, Alex, no! He gets the Invis, but no, it doesn't work out for them. The RP comes down, and both of them drop. So darn painful. I don't even know where that Invis rune went, unless he has a bottle. No, that Invis rune just disappeared. Somebody A-clicked it, I guess, but...
It was illusion.
No, am I completely mind? Yeah, apparently I'm mindless. But anyways, no, I thought it was Invis for some reason. Either way, the Ice Path was nice, trying to dissuade Scandal from picking it up, but that Clockwork initiation, following up with the Magnus RP, Vigos and Scandal just taking that engagement away, taking 2 supports for free.
Really good, and not needing Enlight also means that he sort of continues to get free farm here. He's going to hit level 7, rank 4 Burrow Strike, and having Epicenter. You also see him, by the way. I wonder if he's going to make Arcanes here, or if he's going to try save all the way for Blink. Okay, he does the Arcanes, yeah. Yeah,
it's just so much better because of the fact that once you get that blink, you're going to be sitting on not enough mana, and generally speaking. It's going to be difficult. If you get enough stats, like a Magic Wand, you should be able to burrow, epi, burrow, but as far as adding Blink Dagger in the mix, you're probably going to be short one spell when you really want to clean up. So I think this is a fine move, and as you mentioned like a few hours back, it was the fact that the Sand King can still initiate pretty well with rank 4 Burrow Strike, and with the reverse polarity on the Magnus, who's going to be getting his own Blink Dagger in just about 300-400 gold, I think that they can really rely on just making sure they have the mana pool to sustain everyone.
Yeah, not the world's best Blink Dagger timing for Scandal's Mag, but good enough. And they have their BKB on Blow Your Brain. They will have this Blink, and they have level 6 on Sand King. So I actually feel Empire they're getting pretty close to ready for the fight. Whereas I'm not convinced that Mouz are prepared for it.
Yeah, they're still working their way there. They get the Mask of Madness on towards Black, but if the initiation comes out on him instead of on the opposition, it could be disastrous what he ends up putting out there. Because there's a lot of damage that people can put out from a distance. Shadow Poison isn't rather an immediate thing, but it's still a very, very big factor. And along with that, if the Shadow Fiend isn't in the chrono, he can just raise away, right-click away, and dish out a lot. We actually see up on top, 1v1, but Clockwork wants a piece of this. Chronosphere does come out, and they do drop down Blow Your Brain, but there's a hook shot. Not going to work, though. He actually doesn't connect all the way in. Gets a nice cogs. Black taking a lot of hits here. He probably will fall, to be honest. He has a Magic Stick, though. The Magic Stick is on the Time Walk mana, and he's able to get on out of there. The Burrow Strike stolen. They're able to bring down Pause. Telekinesis and back on in. Everybody's disabled. Pause doing work here. Of course, he does fall, but they get Black out. He's going to TP away here. The Rocket Flare not going to be off cooldown in time, and well, it would be if he. It wouldn't be if he TP'd. He finally is TPing out, but nevertheless, Pause's movements there was 100% perfect to disable everybody up in that position.
And Blow just getting caught out of position there, frankly. He doesn't use the Black King bar charge, which good. I mean, he had no real chance to use it. But just Empire losing BYB and not Black's lives. I did like the hook shot, by the way. The hook shot landed. Yeah. It stunned Black and did the damage. It's just that you can't actually reach all the way over it because he ran himself right into the Chronosphere.
Exactly. So you get as close as possible, but not actually connecting all the way on through there. I'm not sure if that would have changed anything, but probably not. Interesting pickup of the treads on the Shadow Demon. What do you think about a Shadow Poison maxing Shadow Demon picking up treads instead of arcanes or instead of anything else?
Huh. I feel like this is a loaded question, Blaze. You clearly disapprove.
I don't know. I think there's some potential. I mean, I'm one to pretty much explain any item away, but I kind of... Yeah, of course it's durability. Of course that's the idea behind it. Do you think Twist is going to be a main focus target in Mouz's next engage or anyone subsequent?
He's an incidental target. He wants to just stay alive, which he may not do just because Sonic Wave, Jakiro, there's so much sort of undirected damage, and Wrath of Nature, actually. I think he wants to be able to have enough HP to live through Wrath of Nature plus Sonic Wave, and he feels that Treads will actually help him do that. It's not quite as critical for these guys to stack massive arcade boots because they already have 2 on their team. 3 on their team, and I think that's enough, actually. I think 3 arcade boots is enough. They don't need the 4th.
Yeah, I don't think that... Yeah, I think they're fine on arcane boots. I'm just about upgrading the tier 1 boots before before actually going for a major item. Like, actually, we're going to see initiation, so I should stop that thought. They do get it on to Vata, but a good telekinesis once again, and he's going to blink away. They got nothing out of that, but wasting 1 major cooldown of their own.
2. I mean, I guess our Shadow Demon Purge is not nearly as major, but they did use it.
Okay.
So that's 40 seconds that they won't have that, 100 seconds, 110 seconds that they don't have the RP. Not the greatest initiation for Empire there. If they were hoping that that was going to be the fight, it certainly wasn't.
Man, you're just going to promote that to your death. It's just...
I was
watch it never happen. Watch them split push and play Rat Dota all game long, and you just get all sad.
Right. This one, I mean, Mouz could do that a little bit. That will generate space for Black. But, yeah, at this point they could hunker down. 1,600 gold for him, by the way.
RP stolen, holy crap, I'm glad I caught that. Smoke is up. Rubik, although he only has 402 MS with the smoke active, he does have reverse polarity.
Ooh, pause. He's had a great game, honestly. Great telekinesis, just so defensive. And RP could be a huge deal here.
Yeah,
and Light will probably get caught out, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking for here. Waiting it. They know it just dispelled. In Light's in that position there. They also have Vision on Blow Your Brain down bottom, and he's certainly the target to take. So Rubik coming in. Telekinesis into the RP. They get it. They lock him in place perfectly. They missed the Ice Path, but who cares? Blow Your Brain pops the BKB only to fall immediately. They do pick up the kill on Rubik. They turn it around 1 for 3. Holy crap, that was great counter initiation.
1 for 2.
Oh, he got it to blink out. Holy really? And he gets the Scream. He finishes the job and is going for more. Going for the Shadow Strike. A little greedy, but might be able to make it work if the Prophet can come on down. The Prophet's a little bit occupied cleaning up the Magnus himself, and it looks like Fata's just going to be able to walk away here. Did you catch mid at all? Or?
No, I was watching
Chronosphere committed.
Fata get the cleanup. In Light, oh man, he popped the Epicenter, and Fata blinked out before the first tick of it, so completely wasted the first Epi. And actually, Vigos probably go down, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Vigos in a terrible spot. Gets the rocket out, but with enough mana to blink on into the trees, it should be enough. No, the TP scroll. He should walk. He definitely needs to get out of there. In Light coming on in. Blink TP. Yeah, he'll be fine. Shadow Strike ticking away, and it looks like he was able to survive just barely. So, by the skin of his teeth, he does get on out of there, but at what cost, ladies and gentlemen, because they lost so many heroes in that last engagement. Sand King did great, Clockwork too, but immediately the Queen of Pain got out and turned it around. They already got the kill they wanted in the first place, popping out a BKB charge to boot. And on the mid lane, they commit a single Chrono onto the Magnus, and Nature's Prophet helps Black take him down.
Actually, keeping Vigos alive there was pretty important, just because he's holding the mechanism, or he's holding what's about to be the mechanism, and they didn't want to lose any of that unreliable gold. The problem here is, if you look at the net worth graph, Mouz...
Okay, RP committed, and they bring him right down the cliff, right into everyone here. Black incinerated very, very quickly.
And that was Black's error, honestly. They have no vision whatsoever, and Empire have perfect vision in this entire area. They could have waited even longer to kill him there. I mean, he was basically a sitting duck. And that's pretty bad for Mouz. I was about to talk about the fact that they have the 3 next net worth after Shadow Fiend, and so Empire's window, it hasn't closed yet, but it's not quite as open as maybe it was 5 minutes ago.
Burrow Strike gone in on top of them here. Paz steals the Burrow Strike and send it back under the Macro Pyre. No, he got Sandstorm, unfortunately. But either way, in Light, disruption inside the Macro Pyre. He gets blocked by his own creeps, living with 13 HP, but I'm sure that Vata should be able to clean this up. Nice screen coming on through. Now, actually, Blow Your Brain dishing out a lot of damage. BKB pop just to avoid the Ice Path. They get the kill on the Queen of Pain. They're looking for more, but I'm not sure if they can close the distance. Paz is the only one on the run.
It's a tower and a favorable trade because you kill off the Fata's Queen of Pain. I don't know that BKB was worth it, but I do think overall the play that they made was strong. And Blow Your Brain, that'll give him his Yasha, and He's still just a little bit ahead of Faceless Void. In fact, quite substantially ahead. Maelstrom up on black, so he does have pretty great attack speed now. He's fixing that issue that he had earlier.
Going in for Roche, they can actually do this. With the attack speed on black, he's going to be able to get so many time locks off, and the creeps will just tank it up. But with this rocket coming on through, they really need to abandon ship, in my opinion. The reverse polarity isn't up for 24 seconds, but he pops off a regen rune, and he's well on his way. They could honestly try to contest this directly, because the damage, it's there. But, I don't know. I honestly thought that if they had head this direction already, they could have cleaned it up. We do see Scandal in position, but without anybody to follow it up, it would be suicide to walk into that pit.
He's got 7 seconds for RP. It might not be up in time.
Well, I mean, he only has 2 heroes to follow it up. No matter what happens, I think it would be bad to engage in this position. They go in anyways, they get to hit everything on everybody. Sonic Wave to follow it up, and I'm completely wrong in that exchange. Skewering back up on the cliff, they catch Clockwork out of position. Macropyre down, Scandal's going to take a lot of hits here. He will fall as well. So the Roche does drop down, and it looks like Queen of Pain takes that Aegis. And Ice Path will interrupt Sand King, and although there's a nice burrow, I'm not sure if it'll be enough to lock him out. Telekinesis to bring him down. Blow Your Brain needs to get a beautiful ultimate off right here. Finishes off Alex, looking for one more. Gets the ulti, but not too much effect. Pause in a bad spot. Purged on up. He will be dropped down here. But nevertheless, oh my gosh, Fata! Wasted the Aegis. I'm not sure that was a good idea whatsoever.
Pause in the low ground too, and he might get more.
Yeah, even looking for more. Just continuously rampaging on through with Scandal connecting. Koiko will be dropped, and yeah, now they're gonna fall back. But they took so many kills on out of that.
Yeah, Blaze. Here's the thing: Roche does non-trivial damage, and you yourself were talking about how Black, when he has the Mask of Madness active, has very little effective HP.
Jumping down in, Chrono onto 2. Scandal will be able to be bursted down by the Mask of Madness alone. Twista, I don't think so, with that defensive purge, but of course Fata changing that up entirely, being in that great position to clean it up 100%, and that's 2 extra kills for them.
Right, but still, I think still this is a very favorable trade for Empire. They won that fight at Roche pretty convincingly. Blow Your Brain just cleaning up in that fight, moving quite a bit of the way towards his Manta style. But I just wanted to wrap up my discussion with that, Rashawn. Both Black and Koiko was about at half health, and Black was at half health plus Mask of Madness active. So all they needed to do was RP, and that would already be 2/3 of their remaining health points. At that point, you don't need that much in the way of damage follow-up. Blow Your Brain can just do the Shadow Fiend swagger walk as your Clockwork does the rest of the work.
Yeah, that was very, very painful. I mean, the way that they were able to drop that on him, when they hooked on 2 and they were RP'd on 2, that would definitely sealed their fate. But I was worried that after they claimed that, then there wouldn't be anything for them to work with, because they had 2 heroes so darn far away.
Sure.
And that was true to an extent, but when Blow Your Brain finally did get there, everybody had been scuffling around in the pit so long that Alex was such low HP that he pretty much walked in and 2-shot 2 heroes, and then just cleaned up from there.
Actually, Paz made his first substantial error of the game as well. He actually skewered Vigos out of the Macropyre trap that would have killed him. And Vigos got 2 extra rockets off in that fight as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was, to an extent, he was keeping him out of the fight, but on the other turn, if he could just have been finished off by the Macropyre, that would have been very, very painful for him. So
he was definitely dead. And in light, this Sand King, let's note, is only about 500 off from... Oh, they're going to pick him off, though, probably.
Oh, looking for it. Looking for the opportunity, the Ice Path to start. Where is that follow-up, though? Koiko not really willing to commit to the Shadow Blade initiation. I think Wrath of Nature, with a Shadow Blade, they could have actually done a lot there, but if they didn't have detection, I understand their decision.
Right. But he's close to level 11. Rank 2 Epicenter is going to make this combo a little wombo-ier. And Blink Dagger will help a lot as well, which he's getting close to. Maybe if he participates in 1 or 2 ganks, he could actually get the rest. Let's keep in mind, Blow Your Brain is also becoming the most farmed person on the map by a fairly substantial margin. More than 2k advantage over Black's Faceless Void. Yeah. But of course, you can't leave a Faceless Void forever.
Yeah. He will be able to anti-carry. In the late game, Mousesports will always have the advantage, and no matter what happens prior to it. But right now, Shadow Fiend, as he should be, is on top of farm. He's able to CS 187 creeps, as well as doing so well in that last engage, 6-2 and 2. We do actually see Queen of Pain finishing off. I don't think the Sonic Wave was necessary since they had already popped the Orchid, but they didn't want to have to risk it. They didn't want to risk Scandal jumping in with that reverse polarity and then suddenly just getting completely turned around on.
Yeah, I'm fine with them using the Sonic Wave there. I think overall this is... Ooh, we have a disconnect, actually. I'm gonna hop away for like 30 seconds as well. Sorry.
That sounds good. I'll keep on talking. Right now we're looking at the experience graph. Going back in the direction of Mousesports, they're taking it to a 2,000 experience lead, which isn't by much, but when you look at how the levels add up, Queen of Pain won the race to level 16. She's the first with a rank 3 ultimate, and as such is able to do those kind of burst maneuvers where you just don't stand a chance. Following that up, Chronosphere is actually going to be out pretty soon, and same thing with that Requiem. So, Blow Your Brains Requiem in the Roche Pit wasn't that great. He was just delivering the right clicks. I got a couple kills that way, so I'm fine with the way he timed it, but as far as his follow-up, I think there more should be expected of him. With the BKB, with the enabling a rank 3 Requiem with max souls, that's a ton of damage, and they're just waiting for Scandal to start it off. They're waiting for Scandal to get that magical reverse polarity that 100% cleans up an entire fight. But if you miss somebody, if you miss the Rubik and he steals RP, if you miss the Faceless Void and he chronos in, all these things can be so darn painful as far as counter initiation goes, so it really makes things difficult. Down on bottom, the Queen of Pain was trying to make something happen, but Clockwork a little too tanky with that mechanism, so they're going to fall back from there. But they do have 3 committed to bottom, and they're able to farm it up continuously as before. Finally, the Blink Dagger coming out for Sand King, and yeah, he can't wait to get his hands on that, or not hands, but little pincery claws on that Blink Dagger, so he's able to jump on into the next big engage.
Absolutely. I mean, Endlight's pickup of the Blink Dagger really extends Empire's window to win with a big team fight. Because actually, if you have Blink Dagger on Sand King, you are able to actually respond to that Chronosphere by blinking right into the midst of it. You can't move afterwards, but then Void's not going to feel so good about being inside of it either.
So, in this position here, Void is working his way towards his BKB, only 300 gold away. He should be able to pick that up before the next team fight, but then he won't be able to look into options like trying to buy back and TP to tier 2 to jump back into it if it's another Roche fight. It's in this position here, he pretty much has to do or die, go all in, but I feel a lot better about the Mask of Madness and Maelstrom now that he's going to have the BKB, because suddenly there's only going to be one big lockdown he has to look out for. I mean, you mentioned the Clockwork, and that's always going to be prevalent, but the big thing is that reverse polarity, and if he can avoid that, then suddenly that Mask of Madness is going to start doing work.
Absolutely. This BKB is kind of game-changing. Empire can still win, they could even still pull off the combo, but the chances of them doing so drop by virtue of the fact that the margin of error... Oh, speaking of which...
Jumping on in, they're bursting him down. Black will not be able to pick it up, possibly. He gets the time walk, though. Oh, not going to be enough, though, with that Demonic Purge. They did get the BKB, though. The Black King bar is on the Courier, and as such, he lost a lot, but he could have lost more.
Right. So that was, like, easy for Empire, relatively. Oh, Big Us Trouble Bot.
Yeah, I don't know why he TP'd on down there, but with this Orchid active, he has no hope of getting on out. Just the mechanism delayed the inevitable, but he does drop down. Blow Your Brain trying to turn things around. The Burrow Strike, Epicenter, not connecting on to Fata, though. They're going to try to go and skewer on top of him, possibly, but right now, Light is just getting bursted hardcore. Scandal still invis without an RP, is just going to have to drop him right on top. Big Requiem. Beautiful Skewer to put in position, and Koikwa, a couple more auto attacks. Do they have the detection to cancel out the Shadow Blade? It doesn't look like that's the case.
Actually,
we do see still going back and forth. Blow Your Brain taking a lot of hits between him and Fata. He wins the engagement, but Alex cleans it up. Same with the last right click from Koikwa. Blink coming in. Scandal looking for a Shockwave. Won't be able to finish the job, though. We do see Twista coming in. Big damage coming to Alex. I think he can finish this. With the Shadow Poison stacking up, he certainly can. So he will get the kill here on Alex with this last Shadow Poison. Okay. Meanwhile, Koikwa avoiding out up against the Magnus here.
He's doing what out against?
Avoiding.
Ah, okay, fair enough. I was just kind of like, what? So good for Koikwa to survive there. He actually has 3,600, so we're probably going to see Scythe of Vice. And this speaks to what you were talking about earlier, which is that by now, Blow Your Brain's BKB is down to 6 seconds. Yes. So that's 6 seconds after which, and/or before which, he's going to turn into a fuzzy little sheep for a bit.
Exactly. Right.
Actually a chicken, but whatever.
Piglet, whatever.
Piglet.
Dance around. It's
I don't
just
know, man.
we're playing Old McDonald here. Don't worry about it. So in that case, yeah, Old McDonald had a Shadow Fiend. Don't know what he said.
And but yeah, Koikwa definitely making that sheep stick. He's got the ultimate orb, and he's actually only about 1,500 gold off of finishing this Scythe of Vice. And with Scythe of Vice on him and BKB on Black, I feel like this starts to look substantially better for Mouz.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing they have to worry about right now is Shadow Fiend moving in towards that butterfly. And if Black can do as he does and just keep on farming away, his next item of choice, MKB, will almost entirely counteract that. So they'll see the evasion in no time at all, actually. I think he's already put it on the map if they've been able to check it out. But either way, with an MKB, suddenly Shadow Fiend is far less of a threat, and suddenly Black becomes that masterful anti-carry where he can just jump in, bash like crazy, and nothing to stop him.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Mouz are stabilizing, and this is the amount of time, 30 minutes in, against Faceless Void, when you want to have already, like, you want to feel a lot more in control than I think Empire feel right now. I don't think they feel in control at all. They're ahead, I think. Actually, no, they're a little bit behind in terms of the statistics. They're ahead in terms of overall, like, strategic progress, just because they have this Blink Dagger on the Sand King. But suddenly with BKB on the table, this means a lot less. They are heavily smoked, so they may try to seek to get a big teamfight win. And that would definitely tilt this in their favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now, also got to mention that Queen of Pain... Oh, actually, I'm initiating too much on Magnus. They realized too late that too much damage has been put on in. But anyways, Fata has the Scythe of Ice being his next item of choice as well. So when you consider two Scythes about to be picked up, I mean, obviously Koiko is going to make his way there a little bit swifter, but nevertheless, that's going to be two really, really painful disables for Shadow Fiend. If you get two Bash procs during his BKB, and then you get the two Sheep Sticks after the fact, he's going to be absolutely atrocious in the fight. He won't be able to commit any real damage, and the Epicenter is only going to last so long as far as relevance. We do see him initiating on Black here. They do get the initiation, commit the RP, and he's going to get dropped down. Literally every ultimate in the book, it seems. But no, they do finish him off. They do find that opportunity. But in Light, even with a Veil at level 16, when you're talking about a 50-minute game or anything will be past that, it's going to be less and less effective to get those big epis off.
Only because people are going to BKB them out. Epicenter damage is actually still pretty substantial if you land the whole thing all throughout the game. I mean, that level 16 Epicenter, 10 pulses at 110 damage per pulse, like, even with magic resist, that's still gobs of damage.
Yeah.
It's like 900 AoE. It's still very substantial, but I think you're right in a broader sense, which is that they did go for basically a mid-game all-in, and now they see themselves exiting the mid-game. Nice Ice Path.
Yeah, Macropyre is going to be very frustrating for them to fight on through as well. And actually, Vigos having to fall back here. It looks to be moving towards a Hood and a Pipe long-term, but right now, he doesn't have any HP to really back himself up. So he's going to regenerate gradually. Gets a nice hook. The Cog's coming through, but the damage is already done. The pickoff comes on through. They burn down the Shadow Demon and the Sand King. Actually skewers into Cogs, which forces them right back on because they do have that side finished on Koikwa. So locking him down, a little bit of hilarity ensues there. But it looks like the remaining two should be able to fall back. I think that Koikwa has another story in mind, though. Gets the hook shot outside the trees. Turning around on Koikwa, he actually gets on out. That was a really, really cool hook shot coming out of Vigos there.
Incredibly sick play from Vigos. Nice work. The question is, will they catch Blow? Or at least force him to pop that last BKB charge? No, they won't.
Nope.
So I wanted to say, I just feel like Empire aren't... This is the problem of A, playing with a stand-in, B, having this new lineup. I feel like they're not really communicating. Like, there's no way that everybody was on the same page with that Roshan as to whether they wanted to have a team fight afterwards or not. Because Scandal blinked in and tried to skewer back after Endlight and Twisted were dead, and after, what's-his-face, Vigos was already TPing out. Which, there's no need for that. The best-case scenario there was that Magnus would die and maybe they'd score one kill. It was basically an unnecessary death for Scandal. And they can't really afford any unnecessary deaths with this, considering their window to win the game is narrowing.
Yeah. It's more and more difficult for them. We do see actually a Vladimir's coming out for Jakiro. I love this pickup. I think it's exactly what they want to make sure that Black can stay inside the fight. He already has a lifesteal of, I believe, 15%, or am I getting that wrong? No, 17%. So 17% lifesteal on top of the 15 of Vladimir's. He's every little bit of damage. He's going to be able to do so much to back it up, and his BKB is sitting at a full 10 charges. So comparing that to Blow Your Brain 6, he's going to be able to stay in the action for much, much longer.
That's the nice thing, even though they picked off Black twice, he didn't actually pop his BKB either time. And he didn't lose that much of his gold progress either. I mean, Black, he is only the third best, I called him the best farmer EU. He obviously hasn't had the easiest time farming this game because they've been monomaniacally focusing on him, which is absolutely the right thing to do. So he's only the third fastest farmer on his team this game. But still, 2,000 gold, BKB, Mask of Madness, Maelstrom. And the flip side of the fact that he has so little farm right now is they've got so much to look forward to. Like, this Faceless Void is only going to get bigger and bigger. Yeah,
exactly. And along with that, the gold that actually ended up on the other heroes that are farming slightly better than him, Scythe of Ice everywhere. So they have a Scythe on Queen of Pain, they have one on Nature's Prophet, and really, timing for Shadow Fiend's BKB is the hardest thing in the world. I mean, Blow Your Brain's a great professional player, but in this position here, if you're in the driver's seat of Shadow Fiend and you have a 6-second BKB up against two Scythes, you don't want to pop it early, you don't want to pop it late. Both of those are terrible and devastating, and you're walking the thinnest line there is.
Yeah. If we just look at the numbers, I mean, net worth, Blow is narrowly on top, and then we have a big block of Empire. And then it's only... Sorry, we have a big block of Mouz. And then it's 4k the difference between Black's farm and Scandal's farm. Now, Scandal, I think he's saving up, so... Okay, he bought out a full BKB, so... Useful, but I don't know. I might have considered just going even harder all in and going straight for the refresher.
Yeah. Could have been valuable. We do see Blowy Brain finishing up his Butterfly, by the way, and as I mentioned before, Black needs to pick up that MKB. Is still very far away from it, only can afford the Demon Edge right now. But one thing that does still keep things, in my opinion, in favor for Mouz, as long as they're on their toes for the next fight, is Rubik. He did pick up a gem, more so for map control than anything else, but he has the Blink Dagger. And that can mean a not guaranteed reverse polarity steal, but if he does obtain it by being in a good spot away from his allies, suddenly that RP becomes one of the strongest tools in the entire game.
There's Demon Edge for Black, by the way, so he has begun.
Yeah, just has 2,000 gold, or 2,500 gold, math is hard, 2,500 gold to work towards to be able to finish that up, but once he gets that True Strike, the Butterfly, I'm not going to say it's useless, but half of its effects are going to be nullified. I mean, the 35% evasion is immense part of that BKB selection.
I'm concerned for Empire. Like, they really did prep well for the fight, and the fight never happened. It just didn't happen. There have been sort of drips and drabs. There was a good engagement. Actually, they had a very, very good engagement at the Roshan pit earlier. So maybe that was it. But the problem is, from that, they didn't actually get much.
Yeah, I mean...
The idea is that after the fight, you get, like, massive towers that start to threaten racks. And they didn't at all. There's still outer towers up for Mouz.
Okay. So the next engagement looks to be down towards that bottom, potentially, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Can you test out your voice real quick? You might be roboing for me. Yeah, go ahead and recall me real quick while nothing's going on. But yeah, so in this position here, just has to farm up that MKB. Already going for TP scrolls, actually. I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, he doesn't have one on him, and he wants to make sure that he's not getting split pushed down, but really needs to put as much focus as possible on finish the Monkey King bar.
What's up, my friend?
Not too much. It sounds good now.
Shoutouts to Time Warner Cable.
The best.
All right. So, I mean, Mouz, just look at how much pressure they're putting on Empire in terms of map control. They've got the better vision. They're pushing... I mean, they have the tower advantage by 2, about to be 3. And they cleared out... Empire no longer has a jungle. There's no more farm for Blow on this map right now. He finds some when they push in this tower, but... He still does great damage, and Empower is no small thing, because of the fact that it's a percentage damage boost, it really raises your carry's maximum damage potential substantially.
It's percentage of base damage.
What Mouz are doing, yeah, right.
But still, scales, you're right.
Yeah. But, by the way, the reason why Mouz didn't actually go for that tier 3 right then and there, they know that it's seconds until the Aegis is gone.
Yeah.
And that will be a much more favorable time to high ground, if they even want to. I feel like they don't have to.
So yeah, effectively just waiting 30 seconds, they kill Blow Your Brain. And it's just exactly it, because they don't have to worry about the Aegis Immortal, and suddenly you're back on even ground. You're back at 5 versus 5 rather than 5 versus 5.5, or whatever you want to go with for that second life.
The only difference is how hype we get about it. Like, we could have said, oh, they bring down Blow Your Brain and the Aegis is up, but in reality, I mean, that is what happened.
Yeah. He loses it, and that's all she wrote on that. That's pretty much, they will not have to worry about that second coming of the Shadow Fiend there. So that means Shadow Fiend has to pretty much pull out all the stops in fight number 1, using life number 1 to its fullest, because he has that BKB for some time. He has the Mantisile giving him movement speed, but he still has to walk right on in to a bunch of very powerful cooldowns to get off this Requiem, which is pretty much very, very necessary. They need Scandal to get the reverse polarity, or they need the Shadow Fiend to just wander on in and pop it down, but you have to worry about that Chrono, and it's going to get worse and worse from here.
Yeah, I mean, their window has become very, very narrow. They can still get the Wombo combo, it just requires such perfect initiation, and when you're playing with stand-ins, you're playing with a team that's relatively new in terms of playing together on a frequent basis. Having to rely on perfect execution is exactly what you don't want to do. You want to go with something nice and safe and likely. And that's not what's happening.
No, I mean, there are so many variables in a game of Dota, and especially at this length when they have so many heroes that can make such an impact on the fight, but there's so many things that can also prevent those different things, whether there's BKB timings, or if there's anything to put the Blink Dagger on cooldown for Sand King or something. I mean, those things add up very, very quickly.
And you can see it right on the graphs. Like, if you look at gold earned, This is what it means to basically be an all-in composition. Empire are fine up until about 15 minutes, then still doing fairly okay, and then after 30 minutes, just the fact that Mouz have a Tricor lineup and Empire has one mid-game carry just starts to make itself asserted. And by this point, Mouz are, just in terms of the amount of gold they've earned on their heroes and the items they've amassed, tremendously ahead. About 14k gold, that's basically almost 3 Scythe of Vice's worth.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, that's this stage in the game where if you look at the kills, it's 20-20. In that sense, it seems like an even game, but it's getting just worse and worse to the point that they have to make something happen with this next Roche. This is the timing. Coming up in exactly 1 minute, but Faceless Void, his farm, he needs 1,000 gold in exactly 1 minute, and right now the GPM isn't showing that being possible.
The other problem, and it's a big problem, for this Roshan, I mean, last Roshan, they were like, the last 2 Roshans, so it paints a picture. The first Roshan, Empire, like, dominated. The second Roshan, it didn't go so well. Yeah. I mean, they still got the Rosh, they got out, but it didn't really go that great at all. And for the third Roshan, Empire, a team that's primarily dealing magic damage other than the Shadow Fiend, they're going to have to contend with BKBs on all 3 core Mouz heroes, all at 10 seconds.
Wow, that stacks up. The way you put it, when you put it that way, suddenly it just seems like they're going up against something very like this is a monster. With these BKBs, Queen of Pain and Nature Prophet can just right-click away, and they're going to be able to do so much. The Vladimir's up to keep the Faceless Void in the action. If they don't get a pick just randomly out of the blue, possibly here on Fata, they aren't going to be able to contest this very directly.
They either they need to pick off 1 or 2 and then go for Roche, or they need a 5-man RP. But, like, it's a tall order!
Yeah, exactly. Both situations are more and more improbable. The lucky thing is that Faceless Void doesn't want to commit yet. He's still 600 gold away from that Monkey King bar. And until then, he doesn't feel comfortable going toe-to-toe with Blow Your Brain. Evasion's just so darn strong. But it's about to respawn, and they're not in a great position. 2 to the south, trying to find maybe a small window. 1 to the east, Paz is going to get found out here. He actually blinks away, dodges out the hook shot. Good position for him, but they need to respawn. They need Faceless Void to jump in with a big Chronosphere. He is in range. There is no hookshot to disrupt him here, but they are going to drop off the cogs. He's not going to be able to jump on in. Blow Your Brain still duking it out with Roche individually. The Sonic Wave comes out on Scandal, who is sheeped up. They're locking him down. No reverse polarity this fight. They get the Aegis on Blow Your Brain, but here's that Chronosphere dropping off. Going to be able to burst down, actually, the Clockwork immediately, so he can't mech. But it actually looks like Blow Your Brain will survive for a moment. He gets the Requiem off, but it falls on deaf ears. I think that was even backtracked. Either way, not enough happening for them. They should be able to lock him down a second time.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Orchid. It's easy kill there. And Empire, they tried to get really cute there with the fact that Blow was inside solo and he smoked in. But if you're Empire, you want the fight to be condensed in terms of square footage.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want everybody to be clubbed tightly up so that Sand King and Magnus and Clockwork and Shadow Demon are worth a damn. When you have a spread out fight like that, even if you get the Aegis on Shadow Fiend, it's like, so what? Who cares?
Exactly. Because after the disables are gone, after the Epicenter was relevant in that fight, which I gotta say, it pretty much was. I mean, I know the Epicenter is a very strong cooldown, but at rank 2, at 43 minutes, it just wasn't making its impact, especially since there's Null Field, which adds on into that mitigation. Either way, they got the pick on the Magnus. Is what they needed to do. Since when Scandal was locked down, there wasn't anything to show for it. He didn't use his BKB because he didn't get a chance, and that's about that timing I was talking about earlier, where the Scythe is just that instantaneous. So, as an end result of that, actually, it looks like Paz might be picked off. Yeah, Queen of Pain's going to have to pretty much leave him for dead, but actually gets RP'd on the cliff, skewered right back on down at everybody, and they do get a second kill out of it. Queen of Pain still has cheese once she comes back up, but for now, they do have a good 55 seconds to make something happen.
She has buyback, though.
Yes.
And they got Blow to buy back, which is good, because now he's no longer even the highest net worth person on the map. Now, they do have time to play around without Paz. Paz, of course, is down for the full count, 40 seconds. They're, at the very least, I think they want to force the buyback from Fata. They probably can, because this tier 2 won't last at all. But once he buys back, I'm not sure they can push the tier 3 even with Paz down. I'm not that confident about it.
Yeah, it's difficult. They committed the reverse polarity, and that's going to be something they have to deal with in that situation. Now, with the buyback, they immediately walk out, but Black is not done. They go in, they drop down that Mask of Madness with the MKB active. He's just chewing away. Blow is so big, but the stun comes out. They finish it off. They bring down the carry, and from there, the team fight is all broken down. Looks like there might be a chance for Scandal to get away, but no, he's a piglet. He's locked in place with the slow, with the damage of time, tries to destroy the gem, and is caught, stunned out mid-animation. So picked up there by nobody. They destroyed it themselves. Didn't even matter.
Oh, man. No buyback on Scandal or Blow Your Brain. And I said that they can get the QoP to buy back, but I don't know how much more they can get. And the answer is...
Negative.
Not too much. And
Yeah.
now I think they're going to seek to just win here. They're going to at least bring down one set of Rex. I think they can easily get 2 sets.
Yeah, exactly. With Black, I mean, he's currently looking at farming the creeps, and he is just going to get stunned out a little bit here and there, but he can Mask of Madness, he can just dish out the damage on the Rex very, very swiftly and make sure that they are not really being a problem, because they have the Prophet pushing in, they have Queen of Pain up on the top lane, they just have so many great tools to bring this down before there's any chance for the fight. So you might have to take a rain check on that one permanently, because they have not gotten their 5v5. I mean, they have had lots of great engagements, but not the ones Empire were looking for.
Yeah, the fight happened, Blaze. It just happened maybe 20 minutes later than Empire would have liked it to. That was the fight, that third Roshan. That's the fight that basically sealed the deal on Empire. After that, they were forced to take an unfortunate buyback on Blow, and immediately he drops again. And
Twisted drops, and Light throws himself into the ice path. Oh my goodness, this is just too much. They're going to clean it up right here. They don't even have to leave. They do drop a big hammer down on top of 2, but the skewer, the cogs, it all gets a little bit funked out, and instead Black is just going to come on in to force down and Blow Your Brain. He goes for Scandal first. Major damage coming out of this guy, and they already call it just too much to handle, and they end up finishing off Blow Your Brain as well. 5 kills, no deaths, and Mouz goes in to clean it up.
Oh man, Blaze. Empire, I liked the all-in approach. I liked the idea, but just too slow. Not able to enact it quickly enough. And as a result, Mouz just get to the point at which they just had an overwhelming response to Blow Your Brain. One carry, no matter how big, is going to have a tough time beating 3 carries, especially when his BKB has been ticking down since 10 minutes into the game. And so unfortunately, I think that spells the end of Empire's playoff chances. So last season's champions pretty much eliminated, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're currently listed at rank 5. That's because they lost to Virtus Pro previously, so although they're tied up against them in point value, they lost to them in the round-robin group stage, or the stages here this whole season. So when they came down to that match, it had too much of an impact, and losing this game does knock them out of contentions of the playoffs. So unfortunately, they are not going to make it there. Virtus Pro rather relieved, considering they actually do not have any more games to play, and they were relying on Empire to lose this in order to make this slot happen. So we'll see exactly how the final match of the season plays itself out. No Tidehunter versus Dignitas to decide exactly if there's going to be tiebreakers, or if it's just going to be no Tidehunter or actually Alliance, as they're now called, and Virtus Pro taking it away. So we'll see. But right now, very, very unfortunate for Empire, but they lose it 2-0, and in part that has to deal with a little bit of their roster changes and their completely different dynamic within their team.
I don't think they look totally helpless this game.
No, not at all.
I think there's still a lot of talent floating around on this team. Vigos Scandal, I think if they work out some of the kinks in their working relationship, it could be just an insane pair. I loved the idea of the Queen of Pain Storm Spirit. It just... it really was rocky, and they couldn't manage to get that coordination going. But these are 2 such talented players. And Blow, frankly, I mean, he farmed extremely well. He completely dominated the farm of Black this game. And I don't know, I still feel like there's a lot to love about this team, and I really wish them the best. It's unfortunate that they had such dramatic roster changes at a pretty critical time, at least for this tournament, for them to try to get into the playoffs. But hopefully we'll see them next season as a rejuvenated fighting force, and once again up to their sort of standard of the pinnacle. Also, quickly, I do want to shout out Broken Hand Gaming. Fought to 2 fantastic performances, considering the dude is playing with an actual cast on his hand.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very limiting. I think he only had access to his fingers from as far as the cast goes, like a few days ago. So really, really solid, despite some limitations in that. I can't even say like technical limitations, not electronic in nature. It's technically his hand being unable to move. But no, despite that, really, really great game from them, and strong showing from them as a whole. They, of course, don't gain too much from this match here, but they still know that they have a lot of strength in their team when they go on into future matches and other events. But anyways, that is gonna seal the deal for the match today. 2-0 victory for Mouz Sports in this best-of-3 series. Does completely eliminate Empire, and that's gonna be it as far as the match goes. But we do have a special feature for you guys coming up. We're gonna have at least one of the guys from Mouz coming in on a post-match interview with us, talking about the game a little bit, and you guys will get a chance to ask your questions yourselves. So you can check out the live stream and go on into the chat. A great feature for that would be the premierleague.eu/TPLTV. But yeah, either that or the Twitch. Either way, jumping on into the chat will give you the opportunity. When I ask for them, you guys can ask the questions and indirectly interact with those pro players themselves. So ask the pros with Mouz Sports coming up in a little bit. But any other thoughts on the game, man?
No, I mean, great play from Mouz. It was touch and go for a little bit, but they just held on, played smart, and ending their season on a good note. I think they've really had an uptick in the quality of their games towards the end of it.
Really, really solid stuff. And yeah, of course, Black carrying it away. And actually, I didn't even notice that Prophet picked up his own Monkey Gang Bar, so dishing out his own physical damage without being evaded. It's just too much for Blow Your Brain himself to carry it up, because effectively he was the only carry. Magnus can be to an extent, but not nearly enough in this situation. So that's it. The late game is taken away, and that is going to be it for this game here. Very, very well played to Mouz Sports, and that's going to be it. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys want to check out us as casters, you can check out Vikrmond at his either live stream on twitch.tv/Vikrmond, or he has a Twitter and also a website of his own. So VYKROMOND. Just check it out on Google or whatever, and you'll be able to check out all the cool content that he provides. Along with that, I'll be over on twitter.com/blazecasting. And that's where I'm at, where I post up what games I'm going to be casting up in the near future, which honestly seems to be a pretty clear slate for me right now. The last game that we're going to have, Dignitas, I think, was the one that required our postpone. Either way, Alliance versus Dignitas is going to be currently on the 23rd. So that's what you'll be looking at there. The 23rd is going to be our last match for the season. But hopefully we'll get Vikrmond on that. But if not, do you have any clothing opinions or statements for the season as a whole?
No, I think it's been a fun season. I'm really appreciative that I got to cast as much of it with you as I have. We've had some absolutely fantastic games. The one that sticks out in my head most so far is Fnatic versus TL, definitely, especially that Game 3. But yeah. I think we're going to have some great ones as we go forward, too. I'm looking forward to NTH versus Dignitas, Alliance versus Dignitas next week. One of those teams will be looking for revenge, because obviously they're playing out the DreamHack Invitational final right now. So that should be interesting. Playoffs should be fantastic. I don't know. It's a great season.
Yeah, can't wait for the playoffs, and that next match, again, will be awesome as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Going on to Ask the Pros in just a little bit.